There is a mass awakening occurring on the planet right now, and you're a part of it. But awakening can sometimes be a little sticky, especially if you're going through a process known as ascension.
In woke culture, various techniques and tools are employed to tap into the collective unconscious. The New Age concept of ascension involves the aid of a psychopomp, which is a spiritual guide for the spirits of the departed. In more bizarre circles, this psychopomp is referred to as an ascended master, or simply a spiritual teacher. More ambitious ruminations of lightworkers revolve around Merkaba and Kabbalah magic, offering mere mortals a way to reach enlightenment and immortality by way of astral travel. The aid of psychedelics or simulated near death experiences are heavily incorporated and seldom involve pure meditation. Ascension is synonymous with death. It is a red flag if one claims that they are experiencing ascension symptoms. It's often a recipe for disaster which precedes a suicide. The psychedelic community, however, will label the most rudimentary of spiritual endeavors as the pursuits of ego death. These philosophies claim to maximize one's spiritual or personal potential, such as the power of positive thinking. Those who don't adhere to woke culture will ironically be labeled as toxic individuals due to being victims of a social construct. The ascending woke E is often told that he or she is a spiritual entity who has been fragmented by the waking world. Individuals that are susceptible to these teachings will often state that they're in search of something akin to their inner child. The symptoms of ascension rather auspiciously resemble dissociative identity disorder, depending on if the individual seeks professional help from a separately indoctrinated individual. A lot of these cults spawn from government counterintelligence programs. The woke community is partial to this fact, being unaware that a lot of the so called hippies of the 1960s are now holding government office. Ironically, modern social demonstrations are controlled opposition brought about by cointelpro. The woke community is well aware that government agencies infiltrated the civil rights movement. However, they've been hoodwinked into believing they are serving a higher power. Would be philanthropists saw a pot of gold at the end of the psychedelic movement's rainbow. This can be cited as COINTELPRO and the Tavistock Institute. But what were these government research projects really after, aside from remote viewing and psychic spies in the military? The ultimate goal was to compartmentalize the energy centers and cause the attendees to obsessize over the collective unconsciousness, while fawning over the egregious entity inadvertently spawned during the painful awakening process. The terminology of ascension was very popular during the 2012 doomsday hype. However, woke culture will insist that the paradigm shift takes time to affect everyone, and we're all on different phases of spiritual development. A harmonic convergence is one such event, which was conducted as a mass meditation event. This field of discussion falls under geomancy or ley lines. Due to favorable astrological alignments, the mass meditation events took place at energy vortexes, the community would label them. I've broken this down a bit on my recent video on the origins of rune calendars and sigil magic. The Kali Yuga, or the Ages of Man, speaks of the ushering and end of new epochs of human evolution and spiritual change. The Golden and Silver Ages, which are the lost age of the Atlanteans and Lumerians, are the last vestiges regarding the divine feminine and masculine. This is why it is bad luck to wear both gold and silver. It symbolizes the sine wave of the sun and moon. The Copper and Bronze Ages were the last remnants of Paleolithic cultures, with copper being Venus and bronze being an alloy of tin and copper, with tin being Jupiter. The Iron Age, which we are currently nearing an end, is the violent age of war, or Mars, in this alchemical cycle of time. The final Kali Yuga, as most cult organizations like to forewarn, is an impending cataclysm, with the last bastions of these cultures fading away while their teachings are subverted. The overarching message being as mankind develops technologically, we de evolve spiritually. And after the Iron Age, we return to clay, or the primordial void from which we sprang. The root races in large were introduced by Theosophist Helena Blavatsky, who had positive intentions. So when it comes to a lot of this information, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But that is all for now. Check the links in the description, and thank you for your time.